This is Lecture 8 on human languages. This is not a topic that's generally discussed in survey classes, but it is of profound importance, and I want to take a few moments with it. How many human languages are there? Approximately 6,000, and that's the fewest that there has ever been, and that number increasingly diminishes. Think about New Guinea. You can look at New Guinea on a map, and you can see it's fairly isolated. It's on the island of New Guinea and the surrounding area. There are approximately 1,000 distinct languages spoken by a population of about 5 million. How do we explain this? This large number of languages in a relatively confined area? Well, it's because these people have lived in splendid isolation for millennia. Their languages have not been overrun by the larger imperial language like English or Spanish or Chinese. In time, of course, the larger languages will overrun these smaller, isolated languages, and they will become dead languages or extinct. What are the 5 languages with the greatest number of speakers? Well, Mandarin Chinese is obviously first. English and Spanish are second and third. This, of course, is because of politics. The English and Spanish colonized large swaths of the world, and they took their languages with them. So we have a large number of English and Spanish speakers. Hindi is fourth in India, obviously, and then Arabic is fifth. I'll just mention in passing that Portuguese, I believe, is about 8 on the list. And this is for the same reason. Portugal, although quite small, colonized Brazil. So we have millions of Portuguese speakers in South America. Let's talk about the origin of languages a bit. The cultural argument says that human languages are simply cultural artifacts like anything else that humans create, tools or clothes or cell phones or what have you, that human languages may have developed quite recently within the last 100,000 years. Now, there's another argument, the biological argument, and it says that human languages are the result of a very long process of evolutionary development. Now, a couple of other categories here. Monogenesis, meaning one origin. This is the theory that all modern languages have evolved from a single earlier language. And if we have monogenesis, of course, we have to have polygenesis, more than one origin. This is the theory that human languages have evolved independently of one another. Now, an argument to support the monogenesis thesis: there are endless possible combinations of sounds that a language might use to represent some common word like hand or water or face. So if different languages are found to use the same combination of sounds for the same meanings, then it's not likely to be by chance. There's simply too many random possibilities for different sound combinations for us to believe that it's accidental. This gets us to a key term, cognate. Cognates are words that point to commonalities among languages. Cognates demonstrate a common root or a common origin for words. I'll give you an example here. The English word mouse, M-O-U-S-E. In Swedish, mouse is M-U-S. In German, M-A-U-S. In Dutch, M-U-I-S. In Russian, M-Y-S. In Polish, M-Y-S-Z. Now, obviously, this is not a coincidence, is it? All of these languages are part of the Indo-European language group, and thus there is a cognate somewhere deep in the past from which the word mouse has taken on these sort of endless variations. Let's talk about incentives for the development of language. First of all, let's just mention literacy and writing. We believe this may have begun in Mesopotamia, maybe during the early civilizations in Sumer, whereby people needed to have accurate accounts of trade. Trade had become large enough that it had outstripped people's memory, and we needed a more accurate method of keeping accurate accounts. Now, as far as language itself is concerned, the hunt may have been an incentive for language. Let's face it, we might have to, in order to eat, create an ambush to kill an impala so we can have dinner, and to be able to discuss strategy, how to drive the impala into an ambush, would certainly be an incentive for language. Another incentive would be the instruction for children and other people in the use of tools or weapons, teaching the young, and then of course politics may have been an incentive for the development of language as well. Politicians gain power by persuading you to follow them. So language is obviously key here. How are languages organized? Language families are comprised of related language groups. English is part of the Indo-European language family. It's also part of the Germanic language group. So the Indo-European family, of course, covers much of Eurasia and much of the Western Hemisphere because Indo-European speakers colonized the Western Hemisphere. I'm going to give you another set of categories for language. First is dead. A dead language has no speakers. I think of Sanskrit or Latin or Sumerian. Now, Latin, of course, is spoken by specialists. Doctors and lawyers use Latin. One of the reasons they can charge you such high prices is that because they have access to a language that you do not have access to. Moribund languages are not being taught to children. They still have native speakers, but it's not going to last long. And then living languages, of course, are ones still being acquired by children. Characteristics of human languages. The human larynx, if you'll notice, is down in the middle of your throat. It's in a lower position than other primates. The larynx in other primates is at the back of the mouth, up at the top of the throat. This leaves our voice box unencumbered and facilitates a wide range of sound and speech. Now, we all know that animals communicate. We've heard bird calls. We've seen monkeys communicate. Whales and dolphins, you heard the sounds in the sea. They obviously communicate. Your dogs and cats communicate with you. We see ants and bees very effectively communicate with pheromones. But human language can do something that these animal languages cannot do. And that is, we can anticipate the future, and we can also reflect on the past. We can think about those things and discuss those things outside of our immediate experience. And as best we know, other animals do not do this. Humans also have smaller teeth than other primates. Smaller teeth allows for more room in the mouth to manipulate sound and space. All human languages are capable of great complexity and expression. And I want to end here by talking about why human languages are so significant. And I'm going to read you a couple of quotes. This first quote is from Dr. Harari's book, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. He says, quote, "Much of history revolves around this question. How does one convince millions of people to believe particular stories about gods or nations or limited liability companies? Yet, when it succeeds, it gives sapiens immense power because it enables millions of strangers to cooperate and work toward common goals." Just try to imagine how difficult it would have been to create churches or states or legal systems if we could only speak about those things that really exist, like rivers and rocks and trees and cats. Dr. Harari goes on, another quote here. He says, since large-scale human cooperation is based on myths, the way people cooperate can be altered by changing the myths, by telling different stories. Under the right circumstances, myths can change rapidly. In 1789, the French population switched almost overnight from believing in the myth of the divine right of kings to believing in the myth of the sovereignty of the people, unquote. And then a final quote from the McNeill book, The Human Web, to illustrate the power of human language and the dominance of our species. Quote, "The key innovation was probably the full development of language to create symbolic meanings. Human beings constructed a world of agreed upon meanings by talking things over. This makes our species unique in a very special way. It alone created a world of symbolic meanings capable of exceedingly rapid evolution and also of coordinating the behavior of indefinite numbers of individuals. So, a brief survey of human language. Thank you for your attention.